Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery, and today I want to talk to you about cords and sliding knots, so you can make your own adjustable cords. I've got 2mm leather cord and 2mm satin braided cord. It's all very nice and shiny, and this is a lot more slippery than the leather, but it is lovely when it's all made up into sliding cords, adjustable cords. So I've cut these to 46 inches. I think anything just short of 50 inches is a good length. So you can have a nice long cord, but you can also have it'll slide to be quite short as well. So I'm going to start with this leather cord, and the advantages of using the leather cord is it's quite sticky. It doesn't slide, it will stop, the knot will sit where you want it to. So we're going to start with the leather first because it is easier. And one thing to remember is, if you want to fix your cord to a pendant that has a fixed bail like this one, you need to make sure that you thread it through before you start doing your knots. If your pendant has a jump ring on the top, then you can just add it to that jump ring later on. I'm going to add this leather cord with sliding knots to this pendant here. So I thread it onto the pendant first. So now we take our cord, face the cords together. So we've got a big loop, and you want to move yourself so you're working right towards the end of the one end, and you want about 6 or 7 inches of length to be able to work with. So taking the end, fold it over like so, and then holding it all together, take that end, take it over all of the other pieces. We're going to go around and then we're going to go around again, and it needs to be nice and tight as you go around, and then we'll pop it back through the loop. So holding it all in place, hard to show you while I'm holding it, we need to pull the loop. So pull the end that is the loop nice and tight, and that should secure it all in place. Like that. So we've got ourselves a nice sliding knot, and we'll do exactly the same for the other end. So turning it all around, you want to slide your knot all the way along till you find your other end. There it is. And we're going to need about 6 or 7 inches on that end. So fold the cord, and then holding it all together, take the cord over everything, and then we want to go around and around again, and then pop it back up through the loop. Then we want to pull that loop tight, so you need to find which end is the loop, it's that one, and pull that nice and secure. So you want to make sure you've pulled it nice and tight at this end, and the loop, you've pulled the loop nice and tight as well. And there we have our sliding knots. You can trim off the excess ends as soon as you've got it all nice and tight, because this leather will sit in place, it's quite good. With the nylon it tends to slip, but with the leather it tends to hold quite nicely. So there we have it. My pendant is now on a leather cord with adjustable sliding knots. And this size will adjust between around 24 inches to 16 inches, maybe a little bit more depending on how much of the leather you use for the actual knots. So with the satin braided cord, you can do the same knots as we just did with the leather cord, but because this is a little more slippy, it does sit a little looser, so you have to be a little bit firmer with it. So get your cord, cross it over, and then go towards the end of the cord, so you're working on again the last like 6 or 7 inches. Fold it over, wrap it around, holding it nice and tight as you wrap it around. I just want to show you what it looks like on the braided cord, and then I'll show you a more complex knot for the braided cord. Pull the one that's got the loop. You've got a sliding knot there. But it does sit a lot nicer with the leather cord. But you've still got yourself a nice sliding knot. So you pull it almost all the way through. So you've got that 6 or 7 inch tail. Fold it back on itself. Go around. Over and around again. Go around again and then come up through the loop. Holding it in place, you want to pull on the cord that is the loop. Pull the loop nice and tight. And there you've got yourself another sliding knot with the satin cord, so it's a lot softer. And with the satin cord you can seal it, so you can cut it and you can seal it with a lighter, so it won't, you know it's not going to go anywhere. So once you've got your head around those and you fancy experimenting with a more complex knot, I'll show you. This is a little Chinese knot I learnt years and years ago. It is a little bit tricky and I have been doing this for a while, so don't give up. You must keep trying, you can do this. Right, this is 2mm satin braided cord. It's beautiful and shiny, it's very slidey. And again, I've cut it to the same length as the other ones. So we'll loop it around. Again, if you're fitting it onto a pendant with a fixed bail, you need to slide that onto the cord first. For this knot, you're going to need about 10 or 12 inches of the tail end to work with. So this is my tail end at the bottom, and this is the other cord at the top. So bringing it to the front of the other cord, I make a loop. Then I take it to the back. Then I bring it over to the front and I add another loop. Take it to the back. And now I'm going to weave through the loops. So I go to the back, to the front, to the back, to the front, pop that through there so it goes to the front of the cords. So now I've got 3 loops and my last one is woven. Take it to the back and I'm going to go through the outer gap and I'm going to bring it through the middle like that. Like I said, this one is quite tricky, but once you've got your head around it, it is beautiful. So now we start the process of pulling the knot together. Doesn't look very pretty at the minute. So what we do is we start to pull on the individual parts, one at a time, pulling them nice and firmly, and you keep following it and keep pulling it too. Till you've completed the knot, and that is still a little bit loose, so we can tighten that up some more, but that is roughly what the knot will look like when it's done. It's like a plait. It's like a continuous plait, and that slides. So we've got a sliding plait. So what we want to do now is we want to make this quite long, and this is the other tail end, the one that's sliding. So you want the slider, you don't want to pull it all the way through. The sliding cord, we now need 10 or 12 inches to work with at the other end. So this is the sliding cord, because now we're going to do the second part. So we're going to do this knot again as the second part. So this is the slider and this is a fixed one. I'm going to hold them together. Put a loop on the front, take the cord to the back, put another loop on the front, take the cord to the back. This is the one that we weave to the back, to the front, to the back, to pop that through like that, push it down there and pull it round. So now I've got 3 loops, and the third one is a woven one. Pull it to the back, and we go into the outer loop, and we come back through the centre. And then we need to pull it tight. So very carefully pulling it to, and then we go through and we tighten each one. So we pull it nice and tight. We move on to the next bit. We pull that nice and tight, and it doesn't always work out. The amount of times I have to redo this knot, but it is worth it because it's beautiful. So you keep going until you're happy with it. Keep pulling the knots through. And eventually you will have a little plaited knot. Whoa, I did it. We don't always do it first time. So there we have sliding little plaited knots. And these slide lovely on this cord, they really do. A lot easier than the leather. The leather's a little bit tougher. And again, with this nice satin, once you're happy with your knots, you can just cut it and burn it. With a lighter. And that'll finish it off. And seal it so it won't slide. I mean, it won't come undone. And there we have a more complex sliding knot. So this knot is really worth persisting with because it is very pretty. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. I do like adding the option of having an adjustable cord when I sell my jewellery. So I hope you managed to follow this video, and thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks guys, bye.